A few years ago, in the bustling oil-rich city of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria, lived a man named Tari Fubara. At barely 32, Tari was a striking figure. Tall, lean, with skin the color of rich mahogany, and sharp, intelligent eyes that always seemed to be searching. He carried himself with the quiet confidence of a man destined for great things, the kind of integrity that made people trust him with their deepest secrets. Tari was, by all accounts, one of the genuine souls left in a metropolis often corrupted by greed. Yet, despite his impeccable character and relentless drive, Tari was financially stranded. He was one of those good people whom fortune stubbornly refused to favor. It was a cruel irony, made worse by the fact that Tari was a prodigious worker, a true hustler who chased every legitimate opportunity. But every investment dried up, every effort returned dust. At 32, he was still lodging in his parents' modest 3-bedroom flat, reluctantly dependent on them. His sporadic earnings helped supplement the family's resources, which was a source of quiet pride for him, second only to his first-class honors in electrical engineering. The sting was that everyone, his high school principal, his university dean, had predicted his meteoric rise. He was a past head boy and graduated top of his class, yet somehow, all those glittering credentials had failed to translate into a successful livelihood. Tari was truly struggling, to a degree that baffled and saddened those who knew him. They wondered how he hadn't succumbed to despair, but he clung to an unshakable belief that his breakthrough was just around the corner. He had to believe it. His future depended on it. One sweltering evening, as Tari returned home exhausted from a day of fruitless prospecting, he found his mother, Ibiso, outside their bungalow. She was a petite woman, her frame slightly rounded by age, the telltale lines of motherhood visible on her arms. Her complexion was fair, and a vibrant yellow gelly was tied neatly over her slightly silvering hair. She wore a simple white blouse over a patterned wrapper and cheap rubber slippers, struggling to chop a thick log of firewood with a small machete. "Mama!" he called out, his voice sharp with concern as he dropped his satchel and rushed to her side. She straightened up, squinting her small eyes before turning fully to greet him with a gentle, tired smile, adjusting her wrapper. "Welcome, my son. How was your day?" she asked softly, her gaze full of warmth. "Forget my day, Mama. I've told you repeatedly not to cut this wood yourself." "Where is Boma?" he demanded, snatching the machete from her grip. She smiled wearily. "He's not here, my dear." "Where did he go?" Tari huffed, splitting the log in a single, powerful stroke. "He said his department has a crucial seminar with the head of department. So he went there," she explained calmly. "And Kane?" he asked, straining slightly as he chopped another piece for her. "Kane is still at school, my boy. Take it easy," she replied, worry creeping into her tone. "I'm fine, Mama," Tari assured her with a quick, forced smile. She relaxed, stretching her back. "By this time?" he asked, rubbing his shoulders before returning to work. "She is staying back for extra tutorial classes for her final exams," his mother gently explained. "Okay," he grunted, splitting the last piece. He stood, stretched, and then dug into his pocket, handing his mother a wad of cash. "My son, you should keep this for yourself," she urged, lovingly trying to push the money back. "No, Mama. It's for you. It's for the family," Tari insisted respectfully, gathering up the firewood. She finally conceded. "By the way, Ebi came by," she said with a sigh. Tari groaned. "What did she want?" he asked tiredly. "What else?" "You," his mother replied, stating the obvious. Just then, his father, Nenji, entered the compound, bidding a final goodbye to a departing visitor. He was an older distinguished man in a dark blue traditional short-sleeved senator outfit and polished black shoes. Tall, still physically able, bald, and cleanly shaven, he had the same strong nose and large, dark eyes as Tari. The resemblance was immediate. Though Tari had inherited his mother's slightly lighter complexion, they were clearly father and son. "Papa, welcome," Tari greeted respectfully, heading toward the back of the house with the wood. "Thank you, my son," Nenji smiled warmly as he approached his wife and son. "When you're done with the firewood, come and meet me in my study," he added, a distinct note of seriousness in his voice. "All right, sir," Tari replied quickly on his way. As he turned, a wave of worry washed over his face. What did his father want to discuss? "Is everything all right, Ibiso?" Nenji asked his wife in a hushed tone. He just smiled reassuringly and rubbed her shoulder. "Please get me something to eat. I am famished," he said gently, walking past and into the house. Ibiso's face showed a flicker of maternal anxiety about her husband's unusual behavior, but she said nothing, following him inside. Nenji went straight to his study. Ibiso found Tari in the kitchen, having just come in from the back and about to dish out his own food. "My son," she called softly, "go and meet your father first. I will serve food for both of you. I think his reason for calling you is urgent," she added quietly. "Did he tell you what he wanted to talk about?" Tari asked, his quiet tone betraying his slight anxiety. "No, he didn't," she replied, failing to hide the worry in her own voice. The situation suddenly felt serious to both of them. "Don't worry, I'm sure it's nothing," Tari reassured her calmly, trying to convince himself as much as her, and left for his father's study. "Father, you asked to see me?" Tari announced as he walked into the room. "Yes, my son," his father replied calmly. He had changed into a simple cotton wrapper tied around his waist, his chest bare. "Come and sit with me," he added with a fatherly smile, and Tari obeyed. "Is there a problem, father? Did something happen at work?" Tari pressed gently, the worry etched on his face. "Oh no. Work is fine. I wanted to talk about you, my son," Nenji said calmly, placing a heavy hand on Tari's shoulder before sighing. Tari felt a wave of sadness wash over him. He had always known that if his situation didn't drastically improve, this conversation was inevitable. Uncertainty clouded his face. He had no idea what his father was about to propose. However, looking at his father's expression, he could tell that Nenji was struggling to speak, too. Nenji sighed again. "You're not getting any younger, my son," he said gently. "And honestly, things aren't looking very good for you right now." He leaned in. "What if you go back to the village, perhaps Bonnie, and start something up there?" Tari's face grew sadder as his father spoke, but he held his tongue. "Maybe a farm or a fish pond?" Nenji suggested nervously, already registering the changes in Tari's features, but he pressed on, knowing this was necessary. "I'm sure there are some opportunities for you to explore there," he finished, exhaling deeply. The tension in the room was palpable, thick enough to be cut with a machete. "Back to the village?" "But, father, I can't go back to the village now," Tari pleaded, his voice and eyes begging for understanding. "The opportunities are here, in the city, not in the village," he added, glancing around the room as he frantically searched for points to counter his father's sudden suggestion. "Besides," Tari began, his eyes brightening with a sudden thought, "I believe I'm finally gaining some momentum with a few investments. Just give me a little more time, father, and I promise you, I will show you results." He finished with a hopeful smile, convinced he had won. His father's next words instantly wiped that confident smile away. "Tari, you are 32 years old," Nenji said gently. The look on his face confirmed that hurting his son was the last thing he wanted, but he knew his duty as a father. "What time are you talking about?" he added, his voice tinged with sadness. Tari was wounded by the bluntness, but he forced himself to hide his feelings. "Just a few months, Papa," he assured him, his smile faltering slightly. "I'm sure I'll come up with something." His father's brows furrowed in contemplation for a moment, and then he sighed. "Let's make a deal," he said wisely. "If, in the next 3 months, you don't have anything concrete and tangible, we will start making arrangements for you to go back to the village and try your luck there. What do you say?" Tari knew that once his father's mind was set, changing it was an impossible task. So he sighed, and with a fleeting look of resignation that he hid instantly, he nodded. "All right, father. I'm sure I'll have something for you. Now, let's go and eat, father," he said, quickly leading the way out of the room so his father wouldn't see the defeat in his eyes. That night, Tari's immediate younger brother, Boma, a medical student, returned home late. Tari was already lying in bed when he came in. Boma was smart, a natural prodigy who had excelled effortlessly since childhood. Dark-skinned like their father, with his mother's smaller eyes framed by wire-rimmed glasses, he was of average height and slender build. He was generally a calm presence, though his academic brilliance was immense. How Tari wished Boma would have a far smoother life than his, that he would never know this crippling struggle. Boma saw Tari lying on his back, his right forearm draped across his forehead. "Tari, is everything okay?" he asked, concern etching his face as he hung his bag on the wooden chair by his own bedside. Yes, Tari quickly reassured him, sniffing and wiping his face as he sat up to smile at his younger brother, who came to sit on the edge of the bed near him. They exchanged their customary stylish handshake, and Boma sat down facing Tari. "You know you can trust me, bro. What's up? What happened? Even without my glasses, I can see you're not happy," he said in his usual calm, soothing manner. Tari sighed, wondering how to begin. "Papa spoke to me about going back to the village to start something," Tari confessed sadly. "Ah!" Boma exclaimed, his eyes widening in surprise. "Doesn't he know the best opportunities are here in the city, not the village?" "My brother," Tari sighed tiredly, "you know how Papa gets once he has an idea. I tried to convince him, but he's already focused on this." He sighed again. "And don't get me wrong, I understand his concern. Things haven't exactly worked out for me. But he gave me 3 months to give him something conclusive, or we try something different in Bonnie." "Just 3 months?" Boma asked, shocked. "I'm telling you. But don't worry, I'm sure I'll work something out by then," Tari assured his brother. "I pray you do, bro. And I'll keep checking for updates at school. If I see or hear anything, I'll let you know." "Thanks, man," Tari replied. They shook hands and bumped shoulders, and the conversation drifted into other topics: school, football, girls, and life. 2 months and 3 weeks passed, and nothing had changed. In fact, everything had worsened. With each passing day, Tari was losing both hope and sleep. His mother worried endlessly, but he refused to talk, brushing off her concern by insisting he was fine. But he was visibly slipping, losing his optimism and sinking into depression. One scorching afternoon during the final week of the ultimatum, he was hawking small electronics near a traffic light when the driver of a magnificent, pristine white sports car blasted his horn and beckoned him over. Unsure he was the one being called, Tari approached until the driver rolled down his window and shouted, "Big T." Tari instantly recognized the voice. "Tamuno!" he yelled, shaking hands with his long-lost friend. They had been inseparable since secondary school and through university. "Ah, Tari!" he exclaimed, shaking his head. "You guys never update. Look at you, man. See this car. You're clearly rolling in money, brother." Tari exclaimed while his friend chuckled. "From Tamuno, you've become Tams the Tycoon, this guy." His friend, Tamuno, sported sharp dreadlocks and a trimmed beard, wearing stylish, designer glasses and expensive jewelry over a sharp jacket and dark trousers. Just then, the traffic light turned green, and drivers behind them started honking furiously. "My people, sorry." Tari started to apologize, waving them off. "Leave them," Tamuno said. "Get in. Let's drive somewhere better to talk," he added, and Tari quickly obliged, joining him in the passenger seat. "Would you look at that? The door even lifts up to open," Tari noted, shaking his head in disbelief. But he was completely unprepared for his friend's next words. "This is nothing. Wait until you see my house," Tamuno replied, flooring the accelerator. Tari was thrown back into his seat as the car zoomed off. He stared at his friend and the car's plush interior, utterly bewildered. "Where did you get all this money?" Tari asked earnestly. "I will tell you, my guy. Just relax," Tamuno assured him. Tamuno drove them to a high-end restaurant. Tari followed him inside, still dazed and disbelieving. "Guy, where did you get all this money?" he asked again, shaking his head. Let us eat first, Tamuno smiled, leading him to a private table. He ordered for both of them, and when the food arrived, Tari's eyes widened. As for the taste, it was heavenly. After they finished, the bill arrived, and Tari's jaw dropped as Tamuno paid. When the waiter left, Tari whistled. We just ate more than twice the amount I've earned in a whole month, in one sitting. Tamuno simply chuckled. You've kept me waiting long enough, my brother, Tari insisted. My guy, I need to show my father something this week, or he'll ship me back to the village. Please, he urged. That's bad, Tamuno admitted, shaking his head. Exactly. I can't go back, my brother. You have to help me, Tari begged earnestly. Tamuno glanced around and leaned in. What you need is a visit to the divorced wives' market, he said with complete seriousness. Neither spoke for a moment. Then Tari burst into laughter. My brother, which one is divorced wives' market again? He paused, looked around, and leaned in, laughing. You're not ready, Tamuno said smugly, about to rise. Tari quickly held him, pleading for him to sit down. I thought you were joking when you said it. That's all. Explain to me, I'm all ears, he pleaded again. Not here, Tamuno replied. Come to my house tomorrow, at any time that works for you. I will be waiting. My brother, I hope this thing is not some kind of ritual or secret society business. Tari pressed. Come on, don't you trust me? Tamuno asked, feigning offense. To show you I'm on your side, type your account number here, he said, handing Tari his phone. Tari complied and returned the phone. Tamuno performed a transfer. Tari's phone chimed. He checked it and immediately gasped. 100,000, he yelled, holding his hands to his head. Calm down. It's nothing, Tamuno said. You haven't seen anything yet. Just for your transport to my place tomorrow, he said, putting his hand into his pocket. He brought out a fat wad of Naira notes and handed it to Tari. Tari was still reeling from the bank transfer. The cash was the final shock. I swear, I'm in, Tamuno, he finally managed to say, finding his voice. Count me in, he reiterated. It's fine, we'll see, Tamuno replied, getting up. They shook hands and bumped shoulders. Tams. Tari hailed again. It's nothing, my guy, he replied. They exchanged numbers, and Tamuno left. Tari watched him go, then exhaled deeply, looking down at the thick roll of cash. He couldn't believe his eyes. A waitress came to clear the table. Any tips, sir? She asked. Tari shook his head. With this money in my hand, I have become visible to women, he hissed, and rushed to retrieve his wares from Tamuno's car. That evening, when Tari got home, everyone was around. They heard him whistling before he entered. Kane, his younger sister, was the first to spot him through her window. She saw the gifts in his hands and immediately rushed out, running to meet him outside. She was the fairest, prettiest one, her adolescent age blossoming beautifully. Welcome, brother, she said, smiling warmly. Did you get a job? Sure. Lower your voice before others know I'm back. He hushed her. Are Mama and Papa around? He asked. Yes, they are, she replied. Okay, he nodded. Let me go and see them. I'll be back, he assured her fervently. Tari went in and presented the gifts to his parents. Ah! His mother exclaimed first. Tari, where did you get the money for all these things? Did you land a contract, my son? Where did you get all this money? Nenji asked sternly. I met an old friend of mine, father, he said, smiling. He is going to teach me business. He was the one who gave me the money to buy these things, and he asked me to come tomorrow so he can teach me the business. Which friend is that, and what business? Nenji pressed. Tamuno, Tari reported, smiling. We went to secondary school and even university together. Tamuno gave you this money? His mother asked, shocked. Yes, ma, Tari replied, nodding. You know the boy? Nenji asked, his eyes wide in surprise. Yes, I know him, Mama, Tari smiled back. Tamuno used to come back with Tari every now and then. Of course, I remember him as a good boy, but we will still pray over everything, because you never know. Exactly, Papa, Tari replied. Besides, what business did your friend say he is into? He's a businessman, sir. He visits a certain market, buys wares, and sells them off, Tari spoke swiftly, trying to gloss over the details to avoid more questions. All right, my son. May God be with you tomorrow so that everything goes well. Amen, Father, Tari replied. Now, Mama, let us pray over these things. I'm sure my siblings are waiting for them eagerly. Let them wait, she retorted. Where were they when I asked them to fetch water and clean this house? Let them wait. Okay, Ma, Tari conceded. After they said the prayers and shared the gifts, everyone made quick work of the treats. Later that night, Tari was discussing Tamuno with Boma. If you saw the car this guy was driving, bro, Tari said, lying face up in his bed with one arm across his forehead. One of those crazy sports cars, the latest model. And the way he was so free with the money shows he's got loads. I can't wait to go see him tomorrow. Things are finally looking up, bro. I'm happy for you. Just don't make that money and then run away from us like that, Boma said, a concerned look on his face. Ah, how can you even say that? You know me, brother, Tari assured, sitting up. I'm just saying because Tamuno was nowhere to be seen until now, and I don't think that money just dropped into his hands yesterday, Boma said wisely. However, Tamuno did whatever he did with his people is his problem. I promise that no matter what, I'm not leaving you guys, even if I become the richest man in the world. I will never abandon you all, Tari assured him with total conviction. That night, Tari was the last to fall asleep and the first to wake up the next morning, in an incredibly high mood. He did all the chores and even prepared breakfast for everyone. He even played with Kane, tickling her as she came out for breakfast. Tari's mood was infectious, and everyone looked brighter and happier. Nenji led the family prayers before the meal and made sure to include Tari's new job opportunity, to which Tari replied with a heartfelt, Amen. The food tasted even better with his mind set on success. After the meal, he cleared and washed all the plates, and everyone left except Ibiso and Tari, who quickly began preparing for his meeting with Tamuno. He dressed in a crisp shirt, chinos trousers, and new sandals he had bought with some of the money Tamuno gave him. Once ready, he announced to his mother that he was leaving. She hugged him tightly to her chest, her face radiant with motherly joy. Go well, my son, she said kindly. I will, Mama, he replied gently, then kissed her forehead and left. As he stepped out of the gate, he saw someone waiting for him. Abi, a tall, dark, and beautiful girl who was his self-proclaimed girlfriend. She looked confident and determined. Sweetie, she smiled, rubbing his shoulder. You are shining, my dear. Don't forget your girlfriend. Please, Abi, not today. I have an important meeting I'm on my way to attend, Tari said dismissively. It's like you've seen money, fine boy. That's why you are treating me like this. You are my man, don't forget me. It's all right, Abi. I have to go, Tari insisted, and quickly left while Abi went inside to report him to his mother. When Tari arrived at Tamuno's residence, he honestly thought it was a luxury hotel. At the gate, the attendant had to call the house to confirm his identity before letting him through. The compound was enormous, filled with so many exquisite cars that Tari couldn't believe his eyes. Tamuno came out to meet him, wearing an expensive matching designer shirt and shorts with slides, holding 2 glasses and a costly bottle of wine. Tamuno, Tari exclaimed, looking around. Tams. How? He repeated, his hands on his head, still in shock. Big T. Come, let's talk, Tamuno smiled, leading him to some outdoor seats. So, what were you saying about the divorced wives market? Tari asked earnestly. Tamuno handed him a glass and popped the bottle of wine. Okay. The divorced wives market is where all the billionaires go to secure the source of their wealth, he said, pouring them both a drink. How does it work? Tari asked, leaning in, a desperate eagerness to learn written all over his face. You will have to see it yourself. We are leaving tonight at 9 p.m., Tamuno replied, smiling. 9 p.m.? What do you mean 9 p.m.? I don't know any major market that opens at 10 p.m. at night, Tari replied, uncertainty and worry clouding his expression. It's a night market, that's the thing. It opens at 10 p.m., but we will leave at 9 p.m. to get there early, Tamuno assured him calmly. Are you sure that this thing is not some secret society or ritual-related stuff, Tamuno? Tari asked, finally voicing his deep-seated fear. It's not, my guy, Tamuno replied, looking mildly offended. Do I look like a cultist to you? Trust me, I'll explain when we get there. But you have to keep this to yourself. Don't let the update become common knowledge for everyone. It will lose its potency, he added with a serious note. What do I tell my people now? Tari asked, his face clearly confused. Tell them we're going on a trip, Tamuno replied offhandedly. I don't like lying to them, Tari replied, looking a bit hurt. But you're not lying to anybody, Tamuno corrected. We're going on a trip, and we'll take my helicopter. It's at the back of the house, he added casually. Tari leaned back and stared at Tamuno. Just when he thought he had seen the peak of his friend's wealth, he would do something to shock him even more. He simply shook his head and looked around again. How did this guy acquire this wealth? What business was this? He glanced at Tamuno one more time. His friend didn't exude any illegal vibe, unless he was a master at hiding it. Tari sat there wondering, what if it was illegal? Would he find the courage to resist? He needed the money and the breakthrough desperately. How was he going to handle such a situation? Just then, they were interrupted by a stunning woman. She looked to be in her mid-30s but was visually spectacular. She had long, dark, coiling hair and a dark, radiant complexion, wearing a silk jumpsuit and silver slides. Sweetheart, what do you want for lunch? She asked Tamuno. Then she noticed Tari. Good afternoon, Ma, he greeted, unable to hide the confusion in his voice. This is my wife, Adaba, Tamuno introduced her calmly, his hand resting on her luxurious backside. Adaba, this is my friend Tari, whom I told you about. Just get us something good. I trust you. They shared a light kiss, and she left. Wife? Tari asked, even more confused, if that was possible. Since when are you married? How come I never heard? With all this money, your wedding must have been massive. Tamuno just smiled as Tari spoke. My brother, that woman you see there is the source of all my wealth, he said matter-of-factly. Sugar mummy? Tari asked, his eyes wide. No. I got her from the divorced wives market. I was lucky with her, Tamuno replied calmly, relaxing into his seat. My guy, to be very honest, my head is aching at this point, Tari confessed, rubbing his temples. I am so confused right now. First, you said I have to visit the divorced wives market. Then you said that's where all the rich men get their money. Next, you say we're traveling to it tonight because it's a night market. And now, I find out you're married to an older woman, and you claim she is the source of your wealth. Take it easy on me, Chief. This isn't electrical engineering class anymore. Tari exclaimed profusely. You still remember that teacher? Tamuno laughed heartily. Who can forget such a person? Tari asked in reply. But explain these things to me now, Chief. I've told you more than I can tell a non-member, my brother. But you saw my wife. Apart from her being older, which to me is not even a problem, did you notice anything strange? Trust me, you'll find out more in time. Tari nodded repeatedly, then sighed. It's fine. I'll wait and see what happens. Let me go and call my people to inform them of our trip, he said, getting up. All right. Greet your mum for me too, Tamuno said. I'll wait for you. Once you're done, we will go and eat, and then I'll show you the guest room I prepared for you. You'll need some rest, because it's a night journey. Room prepared for me? Tari asked, eyes wide in surprise. Ha! Whatever you say, Chief, he hailed Tamuno as he walked away. I'm not even sure I'll be sleepy. Oh, you will, Tamuno replied, but Tari didn't hear him. Tari called his mother, knowing his dad would probably still be at work. She answered on the first ring, but she wasn't alone. His self-proclaimed girlfriend, Ebi, was there too. Mama, is it my man? Ebi pressed close to Tari's mother, who was trying to hide her displeasure. Ebi, wait. Let me speak to my son, she pleaded, trying not to sound dismissive. Mom, I won't be coming home tonight. I'm going on a business trip with Tamuno to see the market and learn to buy things, he reported, gazing at the sheer beauty of Tamuno's compound. You got the job, his mother exclaimed joyfully. Yes, Tari replied happily. She began to weep tears of joy. Did he get the job? Ebi asked, clutching her dress. Ibiso nodded through her tears, and Ebi exploded, screaming in delight. Let me talk to him. Let me talk to him, she insisted. Despite Ibiso's best efforts, Ebi grabbed the phone. My love, she cooed into the phone. Hello, Tari asked immediately he heard her voice. Hello. I'm losing you. Hello. Ebi yelled repeatedly. Tari quickly hung up. Mama, he hung up. Ebi complained. He said it's the network, Ebi, Ibiso said, trying to calm her down, but she didn't listen. At that point, Ibiso just gave up and left her there. Meanwhile, back at Tamuno's place, Tari rejoined his friend. They went to eat the most amazing, filling lunch Tari had ever experienced in the most beautiful dining room he had ever seen. Tamuno then led him to his guest suite. Tari was overwhelmed with excitement. Guy, I can't wait to start this business, he admitted excitedly. Tonight, my guy, Tamuno replied, smiling. Go and lie down for a bit. Remember, it's a night flight. I don't even feel sleepy at all, Tari replied, laughing vibrantly. Until you lie on that bed, try it first and see, Tamuno replied, laughing too. A whole big tea like me? Tari asked, full of energy. Come and watch me, he said, leading Tamuno to the room. The moment he lay on the bed, he had to swallow his words. Tamuno, he hailed his friend. What kind of magic is this? So soft, so good. It's like sleeping on a cloud, he admitted happily, like a child with a new toy. Relax, Tamuno assured him, smiling as he set the air conditioning with the remote. We'll talk later, Big T. Yeah. Tari slurred, feeling a sudden, intense sleepiness overwhelm him. This bed truly was something else, he thought to himself as his eyes shut. When Tari opened his eyes, he was in a dark void. Suddenly, a spotlight flared, illuminating him in the middle of a circle of hooded figures. They were chanting in a language he couldn't understand. Suddenly, they all pulled out daggers and slit their wrists, dripping blood that formed a glistening red circle around him. He spun around, trying to grasp what was happening. Someone suddenly screamed his name. Tari! He gasped, waking up instantly. He was drenched in sweat. He glanced at the window. It was night time. He wiped his eyes and looked at the alarm clock on the bedside table. It read 8:30 p.m. Tamuno had said they were leaving at 9 p.m. For some reason, a strange creeping fear settled over him as he wondered what terrifying path he was about to step onto. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the very end of this story, you are truly appreciated. If you enjoyed the story and would like to find out what happens next, drop a comment below saying, Part 2, please. And subscribe to the channel right now, so you'll be the very first to know when the next chapter drops.